On the review for the test. Have a copy right here. We got through Executive Office of the President. Okay. You ready for a definition of bureaucracy? I think I know this one off the top of my head. A highly organized system of people and their work. Highly organized system of people and their work.
What was the last 3 words?
Highly organized system of people and their work. Bureaucracy. Okay, I have it up over here. I don't know, I've done the cows with you a little bit before, maybe. Okay, bureaucracy. This is good stuff. Okay, you have 2 cows. The government regulates what you can feed them and when you can milk them. Then it pays you not to feed or milk them. Then it takes both cows, shoots one, milks the other dry, pours the milk down the drain, then it requires you to fill out forms accounting for the missing cows. It makes no sense. Okay? Bureaucracy is one of the most frustrating things in the world, in my opinion. Did I ever tell you guys I was elected to public office once? I never told you that. So once upon a time, my neighbors elected me to the Whispering Brook Homeowners Association board. And you guys live in a neighborhood that has like a neighborhood association. Yeah. So like you have bylaws. You have to cut your grass, paint your house, replace your siding if it starts falling off and that sort of thing. And you pay dues every month to like mow the commons areas. Some of you guys might live in a neighborhood that has a pool or something. It pays for all that stuff, right? So I was on the board of the Whispering Brook Homeowners Association, and there was this guy in our neighborhood that wouldn't pay his dues. And so our job is to make him pay his dues. Now you can't make him. But what you can do is put a lien on somebody's house. So they can't sell it, they can't refinance it unless they pay what they owe. Because when you move in that neighborhood, you're obligated to do those things. Yes? So this guy, he was a cop, wouldn't pay his dues. So I went down to City Hall to put a lien on this guy's house. I've never done this before. So I show up to the information desk at City Hall and I say, hi. My name's Charlie Ebright from the Whispering Brook Homeowners Association. I need to put a lien on somebody's house. And the lady said, well, you'll need to go up to the 5th floor to do that. I said, well, thank you. So I went up to the 5th floor. There's 2 windows. I got in the one with the shorter line. Okay. And I wait in line, get to the front of the window and say, hi, I'm Charlie Ebright from the Whispering Brook Homeowners Association. I need to put a lien on somebody's house. And she says, oh, I'm sorry, I can't help you at this window. You're going to need to go over to the other window. So I get in line, get there in front of the window. I say, hi, Charlie Ebright, Whispering. Oh, I was going to go on somebody. Hi. She goes, is this a residential lien? I said, yes, it is, because I'm from a homeowners association. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry, you're going to need to go down to the 3rd floor. Yes, this is bureaucracy. Now, how many of you guys have jobs, like right now? Where are you working, kids? Govt Ch, and that's chocolate.
Yeah.
What do you do there?
I make coffee.
Anything else? Do you like work the register?
Yeah.
Do you have any other responsibilities? Coffee and the register. Okay. Where? Bling? What is clothing store? And your job is to make the customer's experience good? What do you do there?
Register and I bring them away. Nice.
You what?
I make everything look nice.
Yeah. So if a customer walks in and says, hey, I need this, what's your job? So what you have, and you have a little bit of it too, is called an associated responsibility and authority. Your job is to make the customer's experience good, so they come back. That's what a good employee does, yes? Now, is there anywhere else I can go to put a lien on somebody's house besides City Hall? No. Just like there's nowhere else to get a driver's license than the DMV. And the people that work there know that. So, do they have to make your experience pleasant? No. They know you're going to come back when your license expires. They know I'm going to come back when I need to put a lien. But if the lady at the first window that I waited in line for could have helped me, then my experience would have been much better, yes? She goes, actually, that's in another department, but I can get the form for you to fill out. And then maybe you can go down to the 5th floor and turn it in. Or the 3rd floor and turn it. You know what I mean? So, guys, bureaucracy is a highly organized system of people in their work. There's departments and chiefs of each department, and everybody has a specific job. Because if the lady at the first window could have helped me do the job of the lady on the 3rd floor, then maybe the lady on the 3rd floor's job wasn't necessary. Bureaucracies tend to be inefficient. They tend to be expensive. They tend to be frustrating. Now, when I first started teaching at Bishop Carroll, way back before you were born, okay, there was very little bureaucracy. Like, I was teaching in the portables. We had portable classrooms out where the AC is now, like trailers. The social studies department was out there, okay? We didn't have one of these, which was awesome, okay? We barely had email. You know what I mean? It's like we had our attendance, we'd fill out on a sheet and have a student take it over to the office, okay? Now that I'm in a position of, as social studies department chair, I see more and more bureaucracy. All the stuff we have to do to fill out the paperwork, to do this, to do this, to do this. It's red tape. You ever hear that term, red tape? That's bureaucracy. Government, every large organization has bureaucracy. The less bureaucracy you have, the more efficient you are. So if you are a business and you got a lot of bureaucracy in your business, you're going to lose money. If you're efficient, streamlined, you have you got employees that can do multiple things and help keep the customer happy, people are going to want to come back. Follow me? Governments, by their very nature, guys, are bureaucratic and inefficient and expensive. Okay? All right. My bureaucracy talk. Okay. Now, diplomacy, the art of negotiation. The art of negotiation. And who's in charge of that for the United States with other countries? The president, okay? Okay, presidential succession. What amendment describes when the president is unfit, how we transfer power? 25th, all right? 25th Amendment, write that down, right? Very good. Okay, and then you just need to know the order, okay? So remember, those of you that have me for history, we talked about this Presidential Succession Act of 1947. So it goes president, vice president, Speaker of the House, Senate President pro tempore, Senate President pro tempore. You want me to write it? Senate President pro tempore, okay, which is the longest serving member of the majority party in the Senate. Today is a guy named Patrick Leahy, okay? He's been in the Senate a long time, and he's a Democrat. Okay. Then where does it go? To the cabinet. What was the first cabinet department established in the United States? Secretary of State, the State Department. The second, Treasury. And the third, War. Department of War, which they changed the name later on to Defense. Okay, now, who was our first Secretary of State? Jefferson. Who was our first Secretary of Treasury? Hamilton. Okay, good. So, all you need to know is the state. Okay, you need to know two states. Okay, you don't need to. Now, you should know this, that the rest of them in order. Okay, so like say the first five die, the sixth person. Okay, so when you talk about the cabinet, the succession order is in order that they were created. So the last one created was Homeland Security after 9/11. So that's the last person. There's 15 of them. Okay. So we have 17 people, 18 people, including the vice president, in the line of succession. That makes sense? Okay. What's next? Okay, cabinet departments. These cabinet departments advise the president. Now, it's pretty rare, guys, that the president has a cabinet meeting with all 15. They do have them occasionally. But it's not like, hey, these are my advisors and they're going to help me run the country day to day. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to give me advice daily. That doesn't happen, okay? The president has the chief of staff. That's his main advisor. Okay, he has a national security advisor that, like, briefs him every day on national security issues, okay? The cabinet, yes, they help the president implement the laws, execute the laws, okay? And they have a lot of responsibilities because it's a huge bureaucracy. Yes? Okay. Role of the president and vice president. I don't know what. I don't think. Hang on. I'm just looking at these questions. Okay, let's talk. Just do the vice president. Okay, the vice president has two roles: be president of the Senate, to oversee the Senate, and to break what? Break tie votes. What do you think a regulatory commission does? It creates regulations that people have to follow. Okay? Now, can you think of any up here that would be considered a regulatory agency? Which one? SEC. Yeah, the Securities and Exchange Commission regulates the stock market. Okay? The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, has all kinds of regulations when it comes to the environment that businesses, individuals, homeowners have to follow. Okay? The Federal Aviation Administration has regulations on, aircraft. Okay? So this is part of the bureaucracy, guys. They create all these regulations, and as a business, you are expected to know them and follow them. And if you don't, they fine you. Okay? It's called the administrative state. All right? And it's very powerful. Okay. All right. A bureaucrat. Okay, this is where we gotta be specific. civil servants and we have bureaucrats. Okay? Okay. A civil servant are employees of the federal government. Bureaucrats are people that work in a highly organized system. So are most civil servants bureaucrats? Yeah. Yes.
So is a bureaucracy run by a
The federal government is a bureaucracy. So is the school. System, a highly organized system of people in their work. Sometimes we're more organized than others. I'm just keeping my head above water, people. That's it. Just like surviving. Okay, the merit system, okay, versus the spoil system. So the spoil system's one further down, okay? The merit systems mean you're hired by the government based on what? Merit, your ability to do good work. Okay? So as I think I mentioned, you have to take the civil service exam in order to become a mail carrier. If you want to work in the FBI, you got to take the civil service exam. You get hired based on your merit. Now, versus the spoil system. Now, Andrew Jackson was notorious, President Jackson, for hiring his friends for these jobs. Not based on their merit, but based on the relationship, right? So the spoil system is not based on merit, okay? Giving jobs to political supporters, to friends. You guys know what nepotism is? When you hire family members. I've been a victim of nepotism before, and I'm glad I was. Because when I first got out of college to become a teacher, I had been working out at Mays as a para, and I applied for a job there, and I applied for a job here, and I was a finalist for the job at Mays, but it ended up going to the superintendent's gig. Okay, so I never really had a chance. I thought I did, but Bishop Carroll offered me a job, and I called Mays, and I'm like, hey, I just got offered another job. Do you think I'm going to get the job there? And they said, no, take that job at Bishop Carroll. So I'm glad I did. I don't want to be out there. I don't want to work in a bureaucracy. Oh, wait a second. Okay. All right. I got bureaucracy on there twice. Ignore the second one. Nominating. Okay. This can be used in a couple different contexts. Oh, do I have that?
Yeah, it was just being embarrassed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Government corporations. These are, let me define it for you, because, I mean, I can explain it to you. Let me define it. The post office is a government corporation. Amtrak is a government corporation. It's run like a nonprofit business. Government corporations are run like a nonprofit business. Okay. Does the post office make a profit? Is it self-sustaining? Like, you know, the price of stamps. What's the price of a stamp today? Anybody know? Anybody know? Have you guys sent out any thank you letters or anything for? You better, for graduation gifts, people. Okay, so it went to 44 cents, and they said that's it. That's the highest we're ever going, and they called them forever stamps, right? Forever, it's going to be 44 cents. That lasted about, I don't know, 6 years or something. Okay, now it's up higher than that. But guys, the post office loses money every year. Amtrak, you know, that runs trains, they lose money every year. So Congress has to like fund these things. Now, on their face, a government corporation would be self-sufficient, right? Now, do any of you guys have family members that are mail carriers? Okay, good. So I won't offend anybody. Okay, so do you have to have a college degree? No, no. Do these people make good money? They make more money than I do. Yeah. Do they have really good federal benefits? Yeah. Yeah. Do they have a pension? I don't. Okay. This is why, I mean, they pay well. This is why they're not self-sustaining, because the employee costs. Same thing with Amtrak. Well, it's just, I mean, it's a mess. You can't. I mean, now, if you go to the Northeast and you live in Philadelphia, you take train to New York and back, you know, for work, stuff like that. It's in the trains are very populated. But you guys know you can take a train out of Newton, go up to Newton at 3 o'clock in the morning, catch a train to Chicago. Have any of you guys ever done that? You guys did that? Was it fun? Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to do that. And then you can catch a train going west too.
Yeah, we went to New Mexico.
Took the train. Okay. 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when it stops through here. Yeah.
It was a long time ago. Mexico was
Okay, we got to keep moving. All right, what was I doing? Let's just nominating. Hey, where is the president officially nominated? Anybody remember this? At the National Convention in August. Okay. President is nominated at the National Convention in August. Remember when we did party planks and then party platforms? Did we jump down on that? Okay. Commander in Chief. Okay. President's in charge of the armed forces, right? How long can he use them without congressional approval? Essentially 90 days. 60 days without approval. If they don't approve, he's got 30 days to bring him home. Remember that? That's the president. The War Powers Act. So if you jump down to War Powers Act, one down, 1973, and that is 60 days without approval. Okay, but the commander in chief is in charge of the armed forces. Okay, we know this, right? What kind of people does the president appoint? Appointments. Federal judges. Who else? Some of the heads of these departments, cabinet, right? Some of these agencies, ambassadors, consuls, that's a U. Consuls. We talked about that, the difference between consulate and the embassy. We have an embassy in every country. We have a consulate in every country. This deals more with travel. This deals more with diplomacy. Okay? Visas and that sort of thing with consuls. Okay? Those are the type of people President appoints. Presidential powers. Okay, guys, there's a ton here. Like, so you got executive powers, which would include appointing officials, carrying out the law. You've got legislative powers like the State of the Union address and judicial powers. Okay. Has the president's power in the United States increased over time or decreased over time? Increased, yes. Okay. Father Ed and I were talking about this the other day. Of the three branches, which one do you think the founders wanted to be the most powerful, if there was a most powerful one? Yeah, the legislative branch, the people, okay? And guys, that's the decision the Supreme Court, this big deal about Roe v. Wade thing, okay, is they're saying this is up to the people. This isn't up to the bureaucracy to decide whether women can have abortion. It's up to the people. You need to put it to vote. It's not up to the court to decide that, because it's not in the Constitution. It's not in the Bill of Rights. So it's something that the people should decide through the representatives. Okay? Now, members of Congress don't like to make difficult decisions because they can be held accountable by the voters every 2 years, especially in the House. So legislators, congressmen, and women, they like to abdicate the responsibility to the president. Everybody knows who the president is. Blame him. It's not our fault. It's his fault. Okay, so they give more and more authority and power, it seems, to the executive. And as you know, Teddy Roosevelt said, you know, the bully pulpit. The president has a lot of power. Okay. Now, sometimes they abuse that power. All right. Pardon is basically forgiveness of a crime. How old do you have to be president? You must be a natural born U.S. citizen, live in the country for 14 years. Party conventions typically held in August, and they do the official nominating of the president there. And they write the party platforms there. Guys, candidates used to wait until August at the conventions to introduce their running mate. Okay, so let's say the governor of Florida, DeSantis, wins the nomination for the Republicans in 2024. Trump doesn't run, okay? Typically, up until the year 2000, they would wait to the convention. This is a big deal. They're going to announce who the running mate's going to be. So that made the conventions a little more interesting, yes? Well, Al Gore screwed that up in 2000, and before the convention, he named his running mate, who was Joe Lieberman, who would have become the first Jewish president, or vice president, okay? But they lost. I'm a big fan of Joe Lieberman. He's still alive. He's an older guy. But he was a senator from Connecticut and was a moderate Democrat, okay? And Al Gore was a liberal Democrat. So he helped balance the ticket, okay? I consider voting for Joe Lieberman for president. I like the guy. I think he's great. But anyhow, so now they announce early who the running mate's going to be. So that doesn't happen at the convention anymore. Yeah. I think he will run, especially if Trump doesn't run. If Trump runs, I don't know if he will. I know there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to run. even if Trump runs. But I don't know if he's going to put himself through that. I mean, if you look at the polls right now, like you ask Republicans who they want to run, it's like 34% first choice is Trump. It's about 10% first choice DeSantis. And you know, there's a lot of time between now and then. So, you know, see what happens. Okay. We did presidential succession. Okay, executive privilege is something we covered in the notes. Let me get a good definition for you here. Okay, the right of the president to refuse provide confidential paperwork or testify about confidential business. The right of the president to refuse to provide confidential paperwork or testify over confidential business. Remember I talked about Nixon and then Bill Clinton with the Secret Service having to testify, that sort of thing. Executive orders. I showed you the Saturday Night Live video over that. Okay. To carry out laws made by Congress, the president can issue rules called executive orders. It's not a law, but it's a directive the president can make. Executive agreements are with other countries. Okay, so it's an informal agreement with the government of another country. Informal agreement with another country. A commutation is to lessen the severity of a sentence, like a prison sentence. So the president can commute somebody's sentence from the death penalty to life without parole. Or they can commute a sentence to time served. You've been in prison for 10 years. You're supposed to do 10 more years. The president commutes your sentence to time served, the 10 years that you've served. Lessens the severity of a sentence. Diplomatic recognition. Down to 5% here. Diplomatic recognition is just the president's ability to recognize another government as legitimate. Ability to recognize another government as legitimate. And finally, reprieve is to delay the carrying out of a sentence. To delay the carrying out of a sentence. just be able to list 7 of the 15 cabinets, okay? Labor, Health and Human Services, Defense, State, Veterans Affairs, Commerce, Education, Defense, Treasury, yada, yada. Study.